I didn't know that's why we were here. Kurt just said, hey, I'm doing this podcast with Dave Smith. You want to do it? And I was like, yeah, I'll do it. So I didn't know any of this backstory. But you're not supposed to do that, right? So, like, I always thought, like, because a lot of times people will say something about me I know isn't true. And I figured out early on that they do that because they know I want to come on and correct it and embarrass them. But then they get the views.
Well,
and so I got to
bring it up. One of the main piece of evidence that I see cited, that you cited, Dave, that Jimmy cited many months ago about this claim that the U.S. coup Ukraine was, as you said, the victorious.
You're really going to debate this? You're going to debate whether fucking the United States coup Ukraine? You guys enjoy it. Take care, you guys. This has been fun.
Thanks for coming on, Jimmy.
Take care. Okay. And I really appreciate you saying I was funny. I think that I cannot, no matter who it is, if they find me funny, I have a spot for them in my heart. But I'm not going to do this.
Objectively false. You don't care?
I'm not going to do this. This is ridiculous. I'm not going to go black is white, in is out. And if the point of it is this is an economic proxy, so
you don't even know what I'm going to say about the Newland phone call.
No, what I'm just saying
is about Newland.
It doesn't none of this matter. What Kurt is saying is right. It was that it doesn't matter. What's your end point? That we should be helping and spending $100 billion in Ukraine or not? We're there for the same reason we did Libya, for the same reason we did Iraq, for the same reason we did Afghanistan and Yemen, and now we're doing Somalia and Ethiopia for the same reasons. That's the same reason we're there. And any discussion about it is just stupid.
Jimmy,
I appreciate you and I thanks for having me.
I mean, Jimmy, before
true, because you and everyone else.
It's okay.
Everyone else brings this stuff up in your videos.
It's okay.
And if it didn't matter, you wouldn't bring it up.
It's okay. It's okay. It's good talking. Honest to God, you guys, you could have it out with Dave. Dave, he's doing a great job, and there's no reason for me to get upset. Okay, so
that's fine. I understand you don't want to, be fact checked or talk about anything.
Hey, Sid, no, Sid.
Hey,
you're right.
Hey, you want to have? Should we talk about if water is wet? Yes, we could.
Jimmy.
All right, I'm gonna take.
Wait, Jimmy. Before you go, thanks for coming on. Come back on the show again sometime. We'll discuss. Take care, man. Have a good Sunday.
Okay,
I'll be
Rush
honest,
is wrong. Rush is wrong. Now that we've established Rush is wrong, which is just all the things Dave said are lies. I agree with
this guy. What a snowflake this fucking guy is.
Look, you guys are interrupting, and then you won't, and then you're like, that's so unfair. This is so unfair.
Kurt, if you want to have that conversation, I'd love to have a conversation. Dave, I've literally just trying to get into the things he said just now because I've let you guys talk and talk and talk and talk, and now he's telling me he's going to leave in 15 minutes, Kurt. So if you want to,
dude, it's an hour and a half of a show. I don't know what to say. Yeah, I'm sorry, guys. No one asked me how long I was going to be here for, and I haven't been interrupting that much, so I don't know what.
I know you haven't, but everyone else. Okay. So I want to talk about this Newland phone call that you and everyone else keeps bringing up as a key point of evidence that the U.S. couped Ukraine in 2014, and this does matter, and everyone knows it matters because if it didn't matter, people
wouldn't bring it up
constantly. Okay. The problem is that the 2014 phone call between Newland and Jeffrey Pite, the ambassador to Ukraine, is not at all about them planning who's going to be in the government after, Yanukovych is kicked out of office.
I have a transcript here. You can actually look up the transcript.
You can bring up the transcript. Okay, let's bring up the transcript.
But okay, what is it though? I remember you were telling me she was just being cool and helping out. Was that the fucking?
So if you look at the transcript, even. If you look at the transcript, even Pete, the ambassador, well, actually, Adam, can you bring up the picture? Because there's all these names. It's very
I can't bring it up for them. I don't necessarily know. Like, I can bring it up for the audience, but they're not.
Yeah, bring it. That's what I mean. Bring it for the audience. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So what happened was in 2014, in January, it's like January 25th of 2014, the current president of Ukraine, Yanukovych, he's offering to Yatsenyuk the prime ministership, and he's offering to Klitschko the deputy prime ministership. And Newland and Pete or Pate are having the conversation about whether they think Yatsenyuk and Klitschko should take the positions that are being offered to them by Yanukovych. It's not a conversation about, once Yanukovych is ousted, we're talking about who's going to be in charge of Ukraine. And in that conversation, Newland is saying Yatsenyuk should take the position that's being offered to him by the current president. So if anything, that phone call is evidence against the claim that the U.S. could.
But how would it be evidence, even there, how would it be evidence against the claim?
Because Yatsenyuk is trying to placate the protesters. That's why he's offering the prime ministership to Yatsenyuk.
So as the protesters that Victoria Nuland has bragged about us funding,
that's not what she said, but...
No.
Oh, she
not on the
has
phone call.
it, though.
No, not on the phone call, but in speeches, she has bragged about funding.
She said in speeches, she said that we've given Ukraine $5 billion since 1990. She's not saying that she's giving this.
No, but she said it. Yes. No, I know. That's why I even mentioned, as I said it, she was speaking about previous money as well. But no, she said it in the context of the protests that were going on at the time. So if you're talking about she's bragging about supporting the current protests, who are also getting tons of money from these George Soros NGOs, and you have Obama later talking about how they made a deal, and you have the head of the Council on Foreign Relations magazine bragging about how we're stealing this country away. The fact that while he's under pressure and Yanukovych is being driven out of power and he's like ready to almost like negotiate, like, okay, fine, maybe someone else can take it over. The fact that she's talking about who can go in and who can't go in, you think is evidence that there wasn't U.S. involvement in the coup?
Well, I'll tell you why. I'll tell you exactly why. If the president of Ukraine, the guy who's supposed to be couped, Yanukovych, if he's offering this position to someone to placate the protesters, if he's offering this position to Yatsenyuk to placate the protesters, if America wants a coup, they're going to tell Yatsenyuk, don't take that position, right? Because they want things to get out of control. They want the chaos to continue. They wouldn't suggest to Yatsenyuk, hey, you should do the very thing that will calm things down in Ukraine, which is what U.S. did.
We would like a calm transition to puppet power to us. So that's why we do that.
That just doesn't make any sense.
I don't know how you wouldn't see that.
Wait, how does it not make sense? Explain how it doesn't make sense.
We're fucking burning their country down the one hand, so the guy's like, please, well, I'll do whatever you want, and then go, cool, we can just switch it out with the people. That's what she's talking about, the people we want in there.
Yeah, she's talking about who she doesn't want in and who she does want in. So you
push them up against the wall, and then they'll do whatever you want. You don't have to say.
I'm not hearing a response.
You're not answering my question.
No, I am answering your question very directly. I'm saying she's talking about who she wants in and who she doesn't want in. This is kind of like the power play. Now that we
put him in that position, so we have to do that. We didn't want just chaos. We didn't want pure chaos. We wanted to take over.
You see the difference? Just changed. Wait, the claim has just changed.
No, the claim hasn't changed at all.
My claim was that Victoria Nuland was talking about who was going to be in power once Yanukovych was impeached. Okay, and now it's changed.
No, I didn't say that. No.
I'm pretty sure you did say
okay, well, I
didn't say impeached. I did not say impeached.
You said he was planning the next government.
I said once he's out.
Once we're losing track of, I agree with Sitch. Victoria Nuland's the last honest neocon on the planet.
I'm saying that's not what the phone call wasn't about once he's out. It's literally once he's in.
Once Yanukovych is in?
Well, it's while Yanukovych is the one offering the position to Yatsenyuk.
That would take him out.
No. In Ukraine, they have a president and a prime minister, and the prime minister is assigned to the position by the president. He would be working under Yanukovych.
Right. Okay. But that wasn't settled on anyway. It's not as if they came to that agreement and Yanukovych stayed in. They brokered a deal where they said you pull back your police forces and we'll pull back the protesters, and they pulled back their police forces and the protesters seized all the fucking buildings.
And the reason it wasn't settled is because even though Nuland had a conversation supposedly with Yatsenyuk where she said, hey, you should take the position that's being offered to you by Yanukovych, Yatsenyuk said, I'm not going to do that. So again, that's further evidence that the U.S. isn't controlling anything.
Well, it's not going to be having a call about it at all.
It's not further evidence. I mean, I suppose it could be evidence that every single string isn't perfectly being pulled by the U.S., but it certainly isn't evidence that the U.S. wasn't funding and aiding the protesters in the coup attempt. It's not. It's just not.
We'll talk about the funding the protesters, but you see that this phone call isn't actually evidence of the U.S. coupping anything, right?
It certainly is.
I agree with Sitch. Victoria Nuland, nothing but honest.
Kurt, because you don't trustworthy conversation.
They're not up to anything bad. Why would we not give them the benefit of the doubt after they're great? I don't want to get whataboutism here, but they have a great record so far. So of course, we should assume the best about a Victoria Nuland.
We're trying to figure out what actually went on, though, Kurt. That's the difference.
Why?
But that's okay.
Why? I don't care what happened. I want to get to why we're involved.
I know you don't care what happened.
Well, let's
Russia's bad. You're right. Russia's bad. They did it all. We didn't help.
I would say
now what?
I would say it's evidence of like the U.S. government's like being very involved in the situation at the very least. But why don't we? Because I do have to run in like 10 minutes. Why don't we talk a little bit about like what Kurt's trying to get to of like, so what now? Like, what is your actual justification?
Tell him he's right so we can get to that. Just tell him he's right.
Okay, yeah, sure.
We concede on all points. Now explain what happens now. That we know Russia's the criminal here. Well, I agree.
Here's the problem. If your guys' position was from the beginning, you know, what Russia's doing is immoral. What Russia
evil,
you know, is evil.
It's a war crime.
They should never have fucked with Ukraine. Ukraine is a sovereign country. They can do whatever the fuck they want. You know, blah 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 blah. And you said all this stuff, and you said, but I still feel like that America should not be funding Ukraine or sending them weapons. If that was your position, Dave, this conversation literally wouldn't happen. I'd have no interest in talking to you about it because I'd say, well, okay, fine, that's his position.